Hello, Bayo. Thank you for your question. Um, Complex numbers are just two-dimensional numbers. One part goes along a real axis, one part goes along the imaginary axis. And this would be a point that you can find on the complex plane at the coordinates 4, -2. 4 for the real, -2 in the y. Now, actually, turning this back into a plus bi, that's 4 minus 2i, means finding the reciprocal, starting with 1 over 4 minus 2i. And the way we do that is we just multiply it top and bottom by the conjugate. The conjugate is reflection across the real axis. Now, if I'm reflecting across a real axis, imagine this is a real axis. Reflecting across that axis is not going to change the real part of the number. What's going to change as I reflect across the real axis is the imaginary position. I'm going to go from a positive to a negative, or from a negative to a positive. That's what's happened here. I've gone from 4 minus 2i to 4 plus 2i. Find the conjugate of any complex number, just change the sign, either from positive to negative, from negative to positive. Now I'm multiplying 1 over 4 minus 2i, top and bottom, so you notice this is actually multiplying by 1, so I had to change the whole value. This is going to give me on the top pretty much just what you expect, the 4 plus 2i. It's the conjugate of the number that we started with, the 4 minus 2i. On the bottom, what's going to happen is you're going to multiply. What they look like right here is like two binomials, right? And say 4 times 4, that's 16, plus 4 times 2i, that's 8i, and then negative 2i times 4, that's minus 8i, and lastly, negative 2i times positive 2i, that's negative times positive is negative, 2 times 2 is 4, I times I is I squared, but I squared is negative 1. If I take negative 1 here and multiply by the negative 4, I'll get positive 4. And so what ends up happening here, as you're looking through this, the 8i and the negative I cancel, and what you're left down the bottom is called the norm of either 4 minus 2i or 4 plus 2i. And it's just the square of the real part, 16, plus the square of the imaginary part, 2, or negative 2, either way. And so this is all you have to do to find this particular quotient and getting rid of the 4 minus 2i and I. We want to turn this into an a plus bi form. And what you're looking for then is we'll just bust this up into the two fractions. 4 over what's in the bottom? 20, plus 2 over 20 times I. Both of these can be simplified, right? So let's do that. 4/20 is 1/5. 2/20 is 1/10. And that's all we're looking for in this problem. You let me know if you have other questions, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.